first off, welcome everyone that's here in person and anyone tuning in or viewing later. First, ask everyone to just silence your cell phone all the way on silent, including all you guys back here, please. That way we don't have any interruptions, and maybe we'll meet Lisa's departure time on time. And I just want to thank the staff for their preparation in the meeting tonight. This is a special meeting held as a workshop for the budget. As always, the meetings are recorded, and with that, we'll call to order. And I have 6:03 p.m. for the record. I don't have the gavel down here, which is totally fine with me. So just note that, please. Thank you, Heather. All right, roll call members. All members are present. Do we have an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So with that, we'll move right into our budget workshop meeting, and I think Natasha, you'll be taking it away from here.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. So this is a first look at our proposed fiscal year 2027 budget, and I have some notes that I'd like to share with you, and then I will open the floor for questions and discussion. Some factors that impacted our budget this fiscal year is an increase in healthcare costs to the tune of 10.8%. We've received information that electricity is going to increase by 46%. That is quite a high percentage increase that we've seen this year. We're providing a school resource officer at no cost to the school. Historically, this position was funded jointly by the town and the school through a grant, but that grant is no longer being funded. And our operation costs just continue to outpace our revenue growth. Additionally, we are adding one new position, and that will be a part-time public relations / communication liaison position, and we've also included a 3% COLA for all staff in this proposed budget. At first cut, I did have to cut some items from the budget in order to balance the general fund. The cuts that I made equaled $465,581.06. So some of the staff positions that are deferred in order to balance the general fund was the grants writer position, the senior planner, the parks maintenance crew, part-time parks and rec assistant, and a part-time admin staff. With those cuts made, we were able to balance the general fund, and so the general fund is being proposed with no tax and no rate increases. Moving on to the water and sewer funds, greatest impact on the water sewer budget was, again, just like
Are there slides that are supposed to be moving forward as you talk?
Yeah.
Second.
Sorry. Water sewer.
Okay.
Okay. For the water sewer funds, same budgetary impacts that impacted the general fund. And so as a result, for the water fund, we are at a deficit. With the proposed 3% COLA, our deficit is $73,023.80. So in order to balance the water fund, there is a proposed proposed rate increase of 6.5% for the water service. So this will increase the quarterly water bill by $6.75, which is $2.25 per month. Similarly, in the sewer fund, deficit exists with the 3% COLA of $381,778.22. And in order to balance the sewer fund, there is a proposed rate increase of 14% in the sewer service rates. This will increase the quarterly service bill by $35.31, which is $11.77 per month. Now, these proposed increases do align with Davenport's pro forma analysis from October 29th of 2025, where they projected a 15.5% increase in water rates and a 13.8% increase in sewer rates. Next slide. Yes. So this is just a comparison from last fiscal year with this proposed fiscal year. So the total utility rate last fiscal year, quarterly rate was $385.86, with a monthly rate of $128.62, versus this fiscal year's proposed increase. So the total utility rate would be $427.92, and a monthly rate of $142.64. So I do provide the comparison of the two fiscal years here for your review. So how did we really get here with these water sewer increases? You know, we recommended an increase last fiscal year, and we're recommending another one this fiscal year. But if you take a look at this chart, and from 1997 up until 2025, we did not consistently raise our sewer rates to keep in line with inflation. So when you couple that with deferred maintenance at the plant, where we were faced to really address the plant and address the rising cost of inflation, we now have to propose these rate increases just so we can stabilize the water and sewer funds. I do know that Davenport, when they last presented, they did provide some sort of mechanism to allow for the rate increases over time, so that it isn't some sort of arbitrary number. They discussed tying it to an index so that every year, as inflation increases, the rate increases would be tied to an index. With that, those are the notes that I've prepared for you. We open the floor for discussion and questions.
Okay, let's tackle the general fund first. And obviously, since it's being proposed balanced without any rate increases, is there anything in particular we want to ask staff or continue to delve into on that before we get to our more problematic side of the water and sewer utilities? Give everybody like 5 minutes just to look over anything that they want to highlight out, and we'll see if there's anything after that. question on the revenue side, this might end up being a Lisa question. Line item 22, so that's 100,015,010,00022, the interest ICS account, 4740 sweep.
Was that again, Ron? Huh? What line was that again?
22 is the account ID ending piece of it, but it's 01501000022.
It's like.
Interest ICS account, 4740 sweep.
002?
Second from the bottom on the first page.
0022.
That was a change, we changed from a traditional sweep account to an ICS account.
That's our interest.
Yes,
We haven't been anticipating net revenue, and now we are.
this is the first year that
That's
we're
the
gonna
first
have to get into that.
Okay.
Before it was going into 100,015,010,00001. We just changed the type of
Oh, got it. I see it at the
account.
top
It is on
now.
the main checking, it was a traditional sweep account.
Got it.
This now is an ICS account, which is bringing us in a significant increase in revenue.
Yeah, it has a pretty good growth on it too. We're
Yeah,
still
you see what
expecting
the-
that.
You see what the budget was last year for 202 under the repo sweep. Now we're predicting a 379 on this ICS account. So it's just a change in the bank.
Got it. general fund expenditures printout says revised with no COLA, but you said there is a 3% COLA included in this budget?
Look at the last column.
Oh, my bad, okay. I did not look all the way at that. Okay.
Yeah, the last column has what the proposed is.
It's so far over there, I saw a lot of white space and I stopped reading. Okay, thank you.
Chief, so under police it says canine expenditure for therapy dog, are you guys looking at getting a therapy dog?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would that be, so how exactly,
Well, we're still working out, I've actually talked to a couple of different places that provide the dog. But basically what we do is once we obtain the dog, we have to send usually one or two people to work as handlers for the dog. But this is something that we're looking for, one for officer wellness, but two for community engagement as well. Because the dog would be used not only at the police department for officers, but also for community members that have suffered some sort of tragedy in their life. So,
would the dog like go home with somebody?
say again.
Would the dog go home with somebody?
And or stay at the department. You kind of see programs with, it works both ways.
Okay.
I'd like to see dogs stay at the department for a while, because we have night shift guys.
Okay.
So,
What kind of dog is that kind of dog? Is it like little and fluffy, or is it?
you know, actually, they use a number of different breeds for the therapy dog. You see a lot of labs and
Oh, God, not mine.
But, you know, there's also pit bulls. Now, I don't know if that's something that we'd be interested in when we get closer to getting one. I know you got a worried look on your face. I did too originally. But one of the things that was pointed out to me is in certain communities that pit bulls are very common. And so people maybe, I know it seems a little bit, I don't know, incongruent, but that in some cases, people really appreciate the pit bull breed. And understand that no matter what breed we get, it's going to be trained to do what to be a therapy or a dog for that, not for any other reason.
And you said there's certain agencies that
Say again, ma'am?
you said there are specific agencies that you've been looking into?
Yes, ma'am. One of the ones I spoke to recently is Senator Chesapeake, and so he's actually in the process of sending me some documentation, so I have a better understanding of what their program is and what the issues do.
There's another one that's called Leashes of Valor out of Fredericksburg, that they train the dogs for the same thing, and we've had them like come to our church and do different things, but it's a really established program if you want to look into them. It's run by a former military agent who suffered PTSD himself, so it's a great program.
Thank you.
Why is the dispatch services from the county so much higher? How about that one?
I got that from Garrett over at the county.
Did he justify that? It was a $115,000 increase.
Nope, he just gave me what it was going to be. I'm assuming that they're going to be giving raises to all their dispatchers and EMS. I don't know what their VRS rate is either, because we pay their VRS for the dispatchers.
Yeah, that's a lot more money than VRS have. I'd like to dig into that a little bit more. Just put it on your radar.
Asking for some,
Huh?
I said for shooting.
Yeah, absolutely. That needs to be justified. A $115,000 increase needs some very serious justification.
A lot of local police departments are doing increases for their salaries.
If that's what it is, they still need to explain it.
I got some comments, questions.
Shoot.
We're ready for them.
Yeah.
Well, first off, just for the benefit of anybody who's watching from home, it looks like we're kind of fumbling around, or at least I am. That's because we were given a general overview. I got mine yesterday, but we haven't actually received a physical copy of the budget yet until we just walked in. So we're kind of blindly going into this. If we're supposed to be making suggestions, it's going to be extremely difficult because there's, hundreds, not thousands of lines in here to go through, but I personally would like a quick overview like we got tonight, and then go home, absorb it, get a electronic version of this so I can see where some of the big increases and decreases were, and try to, figure out if I have any suggestions for cuts or increases. But all that being said, as far as some things that are sticking out to me, 2026 adopted budget, 11,092,000. Let's see, amended budget. Okay, this is on the wrong page here. Okay, can somebody tell me the big difference between the 2026 adopted budget, the general fund expenditure total is 11,092,000. The amended budget was 12,875,000. Is that because of capital improvement expenditures being moved and stuff, or is there something?
Yeah,
something
the
else
amended
going-
budget,
Yeah,
all those budget resolutions, we had to transfer capital improvements, that's the 1.4 that
okay,
we brought into the general fund,
Mhm.
or actually transfer from the general fund to capital improvements for our new policy, to
okay,
fund the capital improvement fund
okay.
for capital projects.
That's what I was thinking, I just wanted to
Yeah.
double check on that one. Last year, I haven't had a chance to look through everything, but last year we had a crossing guard proposed. Is that in this budget?
No, we did not,
No.
we did not include a crossing guard.
Okay,
But we will provide some sort of resolution for that.
when you say resolution,
And
to
the chief, if you can speak further on what we've discussed.
Yes, sir. Well, what we have a we have a parking enforcement officer that we are going to detail part-time over there. Actually, I was just advised today that our current parking enforcement officer is going to be leaving us, so we're going to have to be hiring a new one, but that's the intention.
okay. Somebody in the community suggested maybe we could work with the school. I don't know if they, does it make sense for the school to hire one or the town? I think somebody suggested I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not something the police department typically likes to do, because if we hire one and we're responsible, then like, anytime they call out, you have to call, you may only have a very limited number of officers, but they would have to be required to be there because we're responsible for it. Is that correct?
That's correct. Everybody's staff.
So it might make more sense to possibly work with the school to have them hire one, or would it still be the same situation where the police department would have to go in and back up?
I think they call it the town manager.
So, yeah, so that would be something that the school could potentially hire for. But through our discussions, it was just that communicated that there was no funding from the school to offer that.
And for clarity, Chief, when Sergeant Wright was out there, was that something that she was helping? Because at times I would pass and see her helping to direct the patrols then.
On occasion, she did go out and assist with that.
Oh, okay, but that wasn't part of her designated, she was just assistant.
Not necessarily, no.
Oh, okay, good, all right, thank you.
Ms. Sandberg, when we sat down with the school board to look at their budget, didn't they talk about developing a volunteer program for that?
Yeah, they've already put it out on Facebook requesting
Yeah,
volunteers.
I think they're talking about a volunteer program to do it as well, so there's multiple things in the works to.
Yeah, I saw that, but the same constituent I talked to that used to do parking enforcement and crossing guard activities said it's something we might want to consider not doing that because of the liability aspects of it. If you've got people out there that aren't actually law enforcement or condoned law enforcement, there could be legal implications, just something for staff here.
You're right, I get that, but they did mention a formal training program to go with it.
Right. But they still,
eliminate all the risk, I get it.
the way I understand it, Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that they technically are law enforcement when they're out there as crossing guards, correct?
No.
No. Per the Virginia code, when you train them, they have special powers, like, they're not just an actual citizen, they have
That's not the school's understanding, because when we did our budget meeting with them, we asked a lot of these same questions, and the school very much said, our biggest thing is, they know we can't do anything to them, like the drivers, right? Like, they know that us as out there is a courtesy, and it's not like we don't have a badge, right? And so their understanding was definitely that, you know, if at least somebody with a badge could be around First Street, that would help immensely. That seemed to alleviate a lot. I don't know that they really, I mean, they seem to be more flexible on whether it had to be some official paid crossing guard, or maybe just a presence for that half hour before and after school, you know, seemed to make a big difference. I don't know, that was the feedback I felt like the school said when, you know, when we were there for the budget meeting.
I think, I might be wrong, the person I spoke with that used to do that for a job said that they have to, the code says they have to have a uniform and they have to be trained by the police department. So those are the two things that they told me, and that's something I guess we can look into. Anyway,
We don't have a formal training program, so it was recently brought to my attention that occurred, and that should not have occurred without the town's knowledge. I understand that a couple of officers were trying to assist in serving as a crossing guard, but we don't have a formal training program for those efforts. And I think the solution that the chief and I discussed with the new parking attendant helping to serve as that would alleviate all of this discussion.
Okay.
Because I believe if a volunteer got involved, then they would have to make sure they sign a formal harmless or some kind of agreement to not come back on us in the event something happened, even though they're volunteering. Correct?
No, well, it's just like coaching or anything else. You'd have like a
A
sign up.
waivers.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you do. Now, whether or not the waiver is worth anything, it's another story, but
Right.
Yeah, but it sounds as if the solution that the chief and the town manager come up with at least alleviates the problem for the time being. And I think we all agree we don't want any more liability for the town. And, you know, if the school absolutely insists on the crossing guard, well, pay for it.
Let them have it.
I know I asked this in our one-on-one meetings, but Lisa, can you just kind of, for the public's information, what were the largest increases in expenditures in this general fund budget?
Healthcare was one of the biggest ones. I agree, so it's a 10.8% increase in our healthcare costs. And then the electricity. You know, we're anticipating a 46% increase from Dominion Power for electricity.
And I think you guys said that was partly state regulations and just overall general.
Now, Chris probably has more information on it, but they are doing a lot of these rate increases and
We were doing research for our budget, and we found an article in the Richmond Times quoting that the beginning of this year, there would be I believe it's a 26% increase. And then next year, there would be a second increase. And we took that increase because it goes across 2 budget cycles. And we did the math and combined those together for this coming budget because we wanted to make sure we had adequate funds to pay those bills to operate our town.
So it is not a result of us, for instance, running more equipment at the wastewater treatment plant, so this is based on anticipated rate increases at the present usage, right?
Yes, correct. We have been putting more equipment online that has been out of service, tagged out at the treatment plant. So part of that is based off of our usage this year as we bring the equipment online and get it functioning the way it's supposed to correctly operate, taking this year's time frame that we had, took 6 months of what we paid out, increasing it by these percentages and putting it back into the next coming budget so we had adequate funding.
So it's a combination.
It was a
are there any changes in the healthcare this year? I know every year that seems to be a topic.
We have not met with our broker yet. He's going to be bringing that to us on the 19th, I believe. So I don't know if there's any changes other than the cost. We're still going to be offering the same two plans that we're offering. And we are working towards a new solution. We're trying to work with the school, trying to get, to see if we can get into a group with them and go out there and get a better rate and some more options for our employees. And that's not going to happen until 2028 at this point. So right now, it looks like he didn't mention any significant changes, but when we talked to him the first time, there was a lot of talk about the weight loss drugs and whether Anthem was going to cover them and what they were going to do, and that was causing the rates to go up, and that's been resolved. They're only going to cover them now if you have a doctor's
A medical condition.
medical condition. He was anticipating a 14% increase at the beginning, but we came in at 10.8. But we're continuing to try to come up with solutions on that healthcare, because as you know, it has never gone down. We've had 1 year since I've been here, 14 years, that actually stayed the same. We had no increase, but every year since, it's been an increase. So that is something that we are working on to try to come up with a solution that will save the town money and save our employees who have families and plus ones, because they cover that cost totally themselves. We only cover the employee at this point.
So we've pretty much hit most of the areas where there's any sort of large increase in expenditures, correct?
Yeah, everything else is pretty much between 1 and 5, and depending on, we had some communication from our vendors on the higher side where they gave us the 5%. But we looked at the trends and how it's going up every year to get those percentage increases that we see with the inflation.
I just have this is very small semantics, but in the very end, where it has the transfer to capital improvements fund,
Yes.
in the past, I noticed that in, the beach nourishment and stuff, when we transfer that money, that actually went to a specific line item within the
Yes,
department
they
to track
go
that?
to specific line items.
Okay,
yes.
so it's just grouped in that right now for the
I can give you
amended
an example.
budget?
Look at the Parks and Rec where we transfer
I
money
saw
from
it,
the Azalea
yeah.
Park.
And then one question I had around that is, instead of saying transfer to capital improvements fund, should it say transfer from?
No, this was a transfer too. It's an expense. We transfer that money into the capital improvements fund to pay for CIP items. That was the new policy. That $1 million.
Oh, is the transfer to, I got
Yes,
it, and then the
yes.
expenditures is there. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
If you look on our revenue
Yeah.
side, there might be one that says transfer from. but
Yeah, I understand now. That's why Azalea was in there and
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. You're tracking with me.
Are we bringing the summer interns back?
Yes.
Yes.
What positions are they gonna be doing?
What was that?
What positions? Where are they gonna be helping out?
So we haven't finalized that yet. That's all based on the application that I received and after I've had a short interview with them.
Summer interns aren't paid anyway, correct?
They actually are paid.
They are paid.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in here for 6,308. Kind of like a stipend, I think. Okay, well, obviously we can also take this home and continue to study it. Do we want to stay on this for a minute, or we want to move forward to the water fund? We'll do water first, maybe. I don't want me to rush anybody, but I agree with David. Obviously, we have more time too. So just anything that the staff needs, that jumps out, we have this opportunity, use this opportunity to let them know if you need any more information from them.
The question, I guess for Chris. A lot of times I get constituents asking about the town's equipment, how it's being maintained and stuff. Are you guys, do you guys have a program now where everything's routinely maintained and it's like in a system, or because a lot of constituents worry about whether, are we really taking care of our stuff, or are we running it in the ground? So you have any reassurances that you've done something
We
about that?
take our maintenance of our equipment and our facilities very seriously. I can tell you, I have a jet truck down right now and a rental on site because we were on a job site and we noticed oil pouring underneath the truck. That truck was immediately shut down, pulled out of service, and sent to the shop for repairs. So we keep our oil and everything changed. When things fail, it goes to the shop, we fix it in-house. We take our equipment maintenance very seriously. Without that equipment, we can't do our jobs.
Is there somebody over there that does small engine repair within?
I mean, we all kind of do a little bit here and there that we can to keep things from going
I had
to the
somebody
shop.
kind of designated in that for a little bit.
We don't have a
Okay.
mechanic on us.
Got it.
We will change hydraulic lines, we will do everything we can ourselves, and some things are just out of our ability to know how to do.
Does somebody come to us, or we have to haul over equipment to the town?
Depends on what it is. Sometimes if we can get the equipment to where it needs to be worked on, at a shop in Fredericksburg or locally, we will do that. Some of our heavy equipment, we will bring an on-site mechanic, and we got that set up where he's doing it at a flat rate there. So if we have 4 pieces of equipment to be worked on in a day, he will work on all 4 pieces. And he's even been here while we were plowing because we had issues, and he was here on site. We had another piece of equipment come in and go down because of the abuse it takes, and we repaired that truck and put that truck back in service.
So, refresh my
I'd like to add
memory.
something to that too. We have also been, when we have these big major repairs and replacing big major equipment, our HVAC systems, we're getting maintenance service contracts with the vendors or another vendor to maintain those items, those big ticket items. We did with the water towers, we've done it with the HVAC, or we've done it with the SCADA system, what else, the generators.
EMV
So
system.
we're actually making sure we have routine maintenance done on these big high dollar items where in the past they have not been done before.
Thank you, that helps.
One of the other things asked about, and really this is more of like a bigger impact than sewer though, is this article in Richmond Times about the Dominion Power on, I'd like to verify that. I mean, an article in newspapers, one thing, if we got, I mean, they've got all of this litigation with Dominion Power to get General Assembly approval of rate setting. I'd like a clear answer in writing from Dominion on what to anticipate.
I did actually reach out to one of my Dominion contacts. He was going to research it, but unfortunately he's currently out on surgery, and I don't know who else to reach out to at Dominion about this. I've done a little research. On average, it's an $11 increase per 1,000 kilowatts. The treatment plant, for instance, is using in the neighborhood of 100,000 kilowatts. So that $11 per month for 1,000 kilowatts on your average home, which is what everybody's referring to, that is significant at the treatment plant with its use being.
Yeah, that's why I really said it's
100
kind of a
times
sewer
what
department
else is.
question, but I would like to see something more concrete than a Richmond Times article. Like, validating that because it's such a big impact, budget impact.
I don't disagree.
So,
Madam Town Manager, is that something we could
And we have a Dominion contact, legislative contact, Reagan Farnay, I don't know, I'm gonna butcher his last name. There's no reason he can't get us something in writing for that. That would be the right person.
Yes, we just weren't able to get that information within the time frame for this meeting, but yes, we'll continue to work on that for you.
Yeah, that guy, Farquhar, what's the guy in, Farquhar?
Stop it.
He's not short at all. I hope he tunes in and watches. And everybody is fully aware of, when we said, budget impacts, we talked about budget increases, but everybody is fully aware that funding the school at the state budget calculator amount is $280,000 decrease to school budget. Just want to make sure that is abundantly clear.
She
And
said
that
it
is
really
in
quietly,
this.
she said decrease.
Correct,
Yeah,
decrease.
We haven't said that since we've been on the beach.
I am, well, we haven't, that's
Yes.
true. I just want to make sure that is very out in the open and nobody thinks that number is in there hiding somewhere. Because that is a huge budget impact.
I'm guessing that's part of the reason why we're able to balance our budget this year, pretty much.
It's
Yeah,
half of
the
it.
health balance, but, yeah.
It's
The
half of
elephant
it.
in the room.
Justifiably so.
Just wanted to be clear on that. If there's any discussion around that, certainly open for discussion. If there's none, we keep moving forward.
I'm guessing we'll get our school budget presentation next meeting.
Right.
Hash it out after that, I guess. If anything's hashed out. Will we have a portion of our next meeting where we can ask additional budget questions, bring up anything we found after we go through the budget? Is that part of the plan for next meeting?
I can add that on to the agenda.
Then can we also get an electronic copy of these with the prior year comparisons?
You can get it, we'll send you a draft of this.
Yeah, like
Yes.
email, yeah.
You guys ready to move to water for a little bit? We can always come back if something else pops into your brain. All right? All right, so water revenue side as presented is, in order to balance the budget, all right, is with the proposed 6.75%. Huh? 6.5%, $6.75 a quart, sorry. Got it. Still a lot of new water connections. I see we're averaging down, though, to be a little more in line with our actuals, huh? That's good. is a little simple, more simple budget. Not a whole lot of places to get their revenue from.
We're looking at water first.
Water first. Water first, we'll go with the clean water. And the biggest budget impact of this is just regular inflation and the power increase. I mean, a little bit of healthcare. How are we doing on those well pumps now? We made some improvements, we still have some to go.
On the well pumps, on the pumps themselves,
Yeah.
they're all running.
Mhm.
We've lost, on our biggest producer, we've lost probably about 50 gallons a minute. It's really hard to tell where those actually are because they're 800 feet of ground. And to pull them out to check them is costly. So the last time I know a well was pulled was Castlewood, and that was pulled and replaced back in 15 or 16.
So that might be something to be projecting on a CIP with water. How's Denison?
Denison.
That's the abandonment. Is that, what's the one?
Going out for RFP for abandonment.
I'm looking at the revenues. Let's see. Adopted budget, 1.4. Projected revenues for 27 is 1.3. What's the big difference? Is it that carryover? No, the carryover's not on the adopted budget.
No, there's,
What's the big?
we have a reduction in our new connection fees.
Is that the main reason?
That's one of the biggest reductions. You can see in fiscal '26, we had budgeted 160, but we're probably not gonna make that. And we're seeing, if you look at the last few fiscal years, we've seen a decrease every year in new connection fees, what we're collecting on new connections. We pretty much cut that in half for this fiscal year.
So, that's 75,000.
Almost $80,000
Yeah, almost 8,000.
in cut revenue. The reason part of the production was so much higher was when Dotson was doing all the homes here and the condos, we were getting a lot more connection fees. Now that that's slowed out, it's not as much buildable property. So we've been over anticipating the revenue. That's what you're saying, right, Lisa?
Yes.
And we haven't been meeting it. So this is in line with more of the actual.
Yeah, with like in 25, we had set up 180, and we only brought in 72. And so it has been decreasing it. We were overestimating what we were going to get in connection fees.
So the overall, looks like the overall, okay. Down a little bit. Gotcha.
After you guys meet with the rate, the health insurance guy, will you be able to hone in more precisely on the healthcare rate changes? Did you say you're meeting with our health insurance person?
Yes, he's already got the rate. I mean, the 10.8 is what it is going to be. But it's just we haven't met with him to actually look at the renewal and for him to go ahead and submit the renewal.
So the 10% is already in a contract price?
Yeah, it's already what he's been given as our renewal rate.
Okay.
Yeah. Originally, we had done it at 14 when he had projected to us, but then he actually has the rates. It is going to be 10.8%.
Was there a big increase in the water, electricity? Is that,
Same thing. We did 46% on electric
do we know,
in all departments.
where can I find that in here?
Should be
510 on the very first page.
5110, so
Third
we'll
one
get your
down.
Electric service, okay. 46%, gotcha. Another question. I think I asked this in the OROE meeting, but just for clarification, the connection fees, they're part of our normal operating budget, not like capital expenditure or capital improvement budget. I'm just thinking
For us
that
to
that would
do
be a
water
hard,
connections.
yeah, I'm just thinking that'd be a hard thing to budget every year if you're relying on new connections, because it seems like they could ebb and flow significantly. But is that part of our normal operating?
That would be, Chris would probably know that. You're talking about the line that has 8011 water connections?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's partially based off of our estimate of what we plan on being connections. We usually stock up intermittently throughout the year to make sure we have enough to do with connections. But that would fall under a capital item because we're not spending all of that at one time. We only bring in as much as we need to continue operating and restock that throughout the year.
And it doesn't meet the threshold. Our capital, for our capital improvement plan is 50,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't even thinking about how to spend the money. You connect, you're spending the money to do it, and then you collect the money, so that's.
How much does a meter cost now?
So,
So the meter box itself, last time I ordered $5 for the meter and then any of the copper and the line that has to go to it. It's actually the more expensive side of what, for the install portion.
So that's all included in that line item.
Okay, thank you.
When we put the new water connection fees on the revenue side, that $84,779.18, how many houses is that? How many actual connections is that? Knowing that it could be businesses or other things, but just,
$84,000 is what the revenue's projected at.
How
That
many?
would be roughly 10 connections.
10?
10 connections are $8,500 a connection, so just simple math. It'd be 10 connections.
So should we be rounding that number at least to an actual 8,500 or 85,000 since they are 8,500? I mean, I'm just, if you're looking at a couple different ways to try to get the rate increase lowered and in line with it, that is halved in here is 10 connections. I mean, I know a lot of it is redevelopment, so there's no new, yeah.
Well, the other side to that too is there's a possibility that that could start dwindling down as we go into the next year with, we are running out of infill.
Right.
So that could actually start decreasing even more without somebody developing
New,
property that is currently undeveloped at the moment, i.e. 14th, 15th,
Right.
19th.
because redevelopments don't get new connection fees, because there already was a water connection there.
Exactly.
And then to line item 8011, that it just seems like the expenditure in that line item in 2025 was very, very low. To that point, if we're only expecting 10 new connections, wouldn't that expense be relative to having the connection fees? Wouldn't that also go down to, 22 or something like that, or 20K? And in that case, I don't know what a dollar means in this budget exactly, but would that put us any closer? Obviously, it's not gonna balance it, just making the point to look into it, maybe, Ramia? See what you think about it. Just have to make a decision on that tonight. Just something else to consider. Anything else on water, guys? All right, we'll move into our favorite child of the three this evening. That's what I always call Teach when he is being bad. I say, you're my favorite. Come on, guys, just add a little humor here. Nobody likes to see a 14% rate increase, right? So let's just get that out of the bag. We're obviously not, that seems like a pretty considerable jump. Maybe the 6.5 in water seems maybe a little bit more manageable, but this is the one where I'm most like, I just really need the validation of the 46% increase in Dominion. That's because it's such a huge difference in this particular budget. The other budgets, you're not gonna we're kind of splitting hairs about that number. But this budget, that is where that rubber meets the road on that particular budget. So, I'd like us to compare, I heard that the increases from this year have gone into effect already in January. I'd like us to compare the actual rates from this January to last year's January and see what that really was compared to, what that article was saying. And not just the usage, because obviously we used maybe a lot more this year because the ice came through, but what the actual per kilowatt hour charge was.
We can check with the SCC too, that was, quoted in that article that the SCC approved that increase for Dominion.
Absolutely verify with the SEC. Yeah, and who does it apply to? Everyone, is there gonna be any assistance for municipalities, local governments, or sewer treatment plants? I mean, with Richmond knowing that our let's be honest, it's like all over the state with these treatment plants and repairs needed and everything else. Is there, are they gonna be, are they thinking about that? I don't know. I'm just harping in on that one because I know that one's probably the biggest impact in this expense wise. That sticks out like a sore thumb, right?
And this is the article, are we able to see this article?
Yeah, you wanna see the article? You guys got a copy? You can email it to us?
Yeah, I think it's just us doing it.
I agree. I don't care about the article. I care about the mission.
Triple, seriously. No, I mean, it says on the budget sheet article, I just want to see what is the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, I'm with Kenny though. I wanna hear it
Get
come
away
straight
from
from
Oh, we
the
gotta be
and
freeze
Dominion.
for last
Yes.
month.
We'll do some more research.
We had to get a whole new HVAC system, and it went down significantly, but I mean, that's just,
They're gonna get us from the, so.
Yeah.
that way it doesn't
I mean,
matter.
everybody's getting hit hard by this. Dominion's getting hit hard.
Yeah.
And they have lines, poles issues, so they gotta replace that somewhere.
Oh, they're gonna get sued, yeah. I mean, they're also a publicly controlled utility, so.
Well, Mayor, just so you know, so they actually wanted to do a higher rate, and the SCC came back and said, no, you need to do a lower rate. So that is their lower rate compared to what they wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
On that note,
But yes, we can provide the article, and we will do more research on.
is it a
rates.
cumbersome thing with a lot of people? If not, we'll just not chalk it up.
You can just Google it
I'll
right
just
now.
go look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, we did go through the coldest January that I've probably since 1991, but, you know, who knows? The next ice age is coming, global warming, no idea. No clue. I mean, other than that, we know about the chemicals in the sludge disposal, and those are all part, is any of that reimbursable by what we're doing with the ARPA money?
So that is the normal operations sludge disposal.
That is?
Yes, ma'am. We haven't even started to remove the 1 million gallons of sludge that are in the back and Oxagrac. We're actually in the process of working to do that, and we're gonna run that a rental press for 3 months straight to get that other 1 million gallons of sludge in the back and Oxagrac tank by itself.
So that's apart and separate, this is just the regular sludge disposal.
Yes, ma'am.
And then same for some of these contracts, just make sure if there's anything with the ARPA, I had made this comment already to town manager, but, you know, if there's anything that is reimbursable or specific to what we're doing in capital improvements, that it come out of the general operating budget. Like Bowman Engineering, you know, that's, he's not on staff. Do you think we need to be disseminating this information and why and how and what the effects are on people ahead of a bill cycle change very clearly for people?
I think I calculated it's gonna be like $428 a quarter versus $386.
She had the numbers up on the
It's
slide.
gonna be
427.92.
She put it on the slide.
142, 64 monthly.
Yeah.
Reword that.
Yeah,
We would have communication to go out to the public in advance of any increases, yes.
What
Yeah,
about the discount, the senior discount, or the, have we looked at that at all?
I think we rewrote that so it's
We did.
proportionate, is that correct?
We've read that for 2 years, but I believe they get a bigger discount now than they used to.
Yeah,
And
and
it's-
when we change the
more
rates, it now
people
proportionally escalates to it, so that we, otherwise, you're right, we have to go back and change the count code every single
Yeah.
time.
More people qualify for it now, which
Whatever
is
you
how.
do,
Do we
The
know
threshold
if
was
the
changed.
numbers have dropped off?
No, more people
More people
qualify.
are getting.
More
Well,
people
are they
are
actually
able to
applying
do
though?
that.
That's what I'm
Because they
wondering.
changed.
Yeah.
commercial
When I was-
income
We have more
increases.
applicants.
Okay.
than we used to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Because I would have like to go
just
get
Yeah.
the applicants, like go take them to.
Heather runs that
Okay.
program, so she's gonna offer some additional detail for you, Maggie.
Thank you.
So the water and sewer bill and trash is 33% off the total bill, quarterly bill. The real estate is still set at $600 a year. And the income limits are based on the very low income from HUD. So we now have, I think, last fiscal year, there was about 45 applicants that were approved and were on the list. I expect to get a few more this year. I try to let all the seniors know, like, hey, and I even told them about the county's discounts, so they apply there too.
I know it's a lot of hand holding.
It is, so definitely a
Yes.
big lift, but
And Heather, do they have to be seniors?
no.
It's income
Or
based.
just
And
those.
they
Low
can be
income
totally,
too, right?
totally disabled.
No, so there isn't anything for low income at this point.
No, not for, like,
It's a
let's
senior
say
and
Jane and
disabled.
John, you know, are on minimum wage and running a house. No, they have to own their home. It has to be their primary residence. They can't have over $100,000 in assets. So a lot of times I get people calling, and this is their second home,
Right.
wanting a discount. And I said, oh, well, you know, it's not your primary, and you have assets over $100,000, so, sorry.
I don't have any other comments on the farm. I don't know what else to do on the sewer thing. I think you guys did a superb job of coming up with, reality.
Making chicken salad.
Mayor, if I can add something real quick. You talked about how are we gonna get this out to the public? You know, once we confirm the 46%, I think part of the story that we need to tell is with the 46% increase, that's almost half of our deficit, right? So without that, our natural increase, our deficit would be only the 7%. So that's a large, that's 7% just from impound. So that's something we need to tell to the residents. It's not necessarily due to us to pass along.
Yeah, we're not overcharging.
It's more than half of it.
But I think you need to,
Just a little less.
I think we need to be straight with them about what is rate increase and what is a lot more.
Operational.
online.
Yeah, operational.
Right, which is important, and they should care about that too, right? But I think it's not true that Virginia Power is raising their rates by 46%. And the way we talk about it sort of sounds like that. And we were gonna get called out for telling the
You know,
story.
very small, a small portion of that would be equipment we're actually bringing online. And as we replace some of this older equipment, some of that power drop may go down some due to, I mean, there's pumps in there from 2008 right now today. So I have 4 2008 pumps that I guarantee you take a lot more than the pumps that were just installed in the last 3 years.
So what is, pending verification and everything else, what do we think the increase is gonna be, the rate increase for Dominion? What's the percent of, no, it's not 46, what is it?
It was 46.
Yeah,
No,
that's what
that
they
is
say.
a hard
That's
count.
46%.
46% is,
Yeah, it
because
says
what we did is
It's
we
gonna be
took,
11 to 13, I just looked at $11 to $13 per 1,000 kilowatts.
Right.
so basically what it is we took the last 6 months of running operating time and what we have paid out, what we consumed from July to December. This is what our costs were, this is what we expended in pumps, everything running. Then what we did is we took that and averaged that out across the year and then added the 46% increase from Dominion.
Okay.
So we already have our numbers of what it's
Yeah, so-
costing to operate on a
What he
daily
said,
basis.
what he said was is they originally Dominion requested $14.76%, $14.76 per 1,000 kilowatts, SEC said no, and they got a $11.20, whatever, $11 change.
It's $11 and change per 1,000 kilowatts.
Right.
Run.
So it is an increase.
So anecdotally, my home electric bill
Oh, I know.
went from 250 to 450, so I can believe that.
Right.
I guess in using that math, I just, is it possible to have the number in a slide, you know, maybe the next meeting or something that says how many kilowatt hours, how many thousand kilowatt hours that plant used in 6 months? That July to December 31st number?
Sure.
Yeah.
How many lights can we turn on?
Because and one of the other questions I already have. would be like,
We're changing everything to LED and trying to save what we can.
But one of the things that, I mean, we just, and I don't know, it seems like you took the total amount and times it by 46%. If it's 46% increase in the charge per kilowatt hours, does that also mean all the other little fees that are on my Dominion bill are also 46% increase? Or are those excluded from that? And in that way, I just say, let's narrow it to the actual kilowatt hour.
We did it based off of actual usage over 6 months, and then we took out there. So, and here's the other part of it that gets confusing too, is the percentage is broken out across 2 full calendar years. So for us, that's going to be across
Right.
3 fiscal budgets. So part of that increase is affecting us right now that we did not anticipate or budget or plan for.
Right.
So for this next coming budget, because we will have 6 months at the current rate, and then in 2027, when it goes up
We'll go up
again, we broke that out to account for a fiscal year with 2 different rate increases to make sure that we balance out
So
to
the
operate.
46% is the anticipated 6 months of the remainder of 2026 and the rate increase anticipated 2027.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I got that, but I think we do need some slides that kind of explains that math too.
And I like Kyler's idea, when we talk about the utility increase to the citizens, we should say, of this $35 increase or $50 increase or whatever, 20 of it's just from Dominion's rate increase. I mean, you know, let's throw them under the bus. That's ridiculous.
Well, it is ridiculous, which is why I keep questioning it,
Yeah.
as if it's not real.
Yeah.
No, it's real.
I mean, I believe you, but I just, like, this is the reality, is that half of the deficit in the sewer department is directly related to this Dominion increase. So that's, of the $35, that's, what's
Do we know
happening.
what the other big parts were? Like, of the 381,000 deficit, you say half is electricity, what's the other half? I mean, I know looks like there's a lot of little things, but are there any other major increases that are pushing it up, or is that just a bunch of small?
Just a bunch of small inflation. I'm assuming part of that deficit would include the COLAs. Most of it is literally the electricity and just the basic routine inflation. And I just got another article today saying that the national average for construction and utility inflation is going to be between 4.9 and 5.9% over the next year.
It looks like everything was level funded or has a 5% inflation rate on it, pretty much.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah,
right.
3 to 5.
Some of them are only 1%. So it really was just a bunch of little stuff mostly, besides Dominion and your healthcare. It's a big dollar items.
Yeah, liability insurance, 8K, you know, rental equipment, 4K. Electrical for the sewer department, not the plant, 13K. Found bigger numbers, but they're all dwarfed by 163K increase for electrical at the plant.
And we have a little bit more contingency, so that line
40
item,
more K in contract services, but that's on a $1.3 billion total, so percentage-wise, it's massive. That's, top of the third page here, contracts for professional services. For rounding, but about 40K.
Sewer or wastewater treatment plant?
I am looking at sewer fund expenditure. Top of the third page, NG 3100.
That went from 18 to 30. What are you looking at?
No, he's looking at the third page, so 501, 006, 000, 3100. He's talking about his voting. And a bunch of other things. I think.
Yeah, it's under treatment plant, yes. Yeah, it's in both and all that stuff, I know it is.
Yeah,
And I-
that, aqua, army group,
Yes.
the SEP testing.
I'm not saying it's not justified, I'm just saying it's another big number in the
Yes.
file there.
Yes,
So-
it is.
But it's only a 3% increase in considering all those contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
It's on 1.3 million, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, frankly, part of that is we get a break with Imboden being able to buy in bulk for the chemicals and so forth.
Yeah.
Since they run a number of ways.
For the rental,
Y'all, go ahead.
sorry. No, go.
No, you can ask it, you started.
Okay, rental equipment, the 10% increase, have we looked elsewhere? Is this like the best we can do
In which one?
for rental
Your
equipment?
rental on the wastewater treatment plant, is that a 10% increase on that?
So the reason we put a 10% instead of a 3 or a 5% on that is we actually have mostly depleted that. That's if we have to rent a bypass pump, we have a failure, have to bring something in to keep it operating, make sure we're not spilling. We rent a man lift to do repairs over there if necessary, and we try to bring that equipment on site and get it off site as quickly as possible.
You know, one of the things I think that we should all keep in mind is that the wastewater treatment plant was underfunded maintenance-wise for a long time, and we want to save the taxpayer every dime we can, but what we don't want to do is leave ourselves with insufficient monies to do the proper maintenance.
I got a couple more questions. So there is a $100,000 contingency in the
Wastewater treatment.
in the plant itself, right? And then, which we hold there for emergencies, although we do have also the emergency funds for this. And then the other one is a contingency within the sewer department. It looks, where are we at within the 2026 year? How much of that 68 grand, this is line item? Yeah, you're looking at it?
What they spent out there so far. So on the sewer side, so far they've used 14,000. And then on the wastewater treatment, I believe it's. Yeah, right now they've only spent 5,500.
Another 20 coming out of that, but I mean, it's
How much?
Another 21,000.
Out of the
the
sewer?
Wastewater.
Wastewater.
Wastewater. Okay, so, I mean, if, considering we are tackling a lot of these CIP items with CIP funds separately from the operating budgets, I wonder if there's some way to make those in line a little bit more with how we really use them? Because when something massive is broken, what we have is the reserve fund, right? So, I'm not saying that I wanna go to zero contingency, but it's just another opportunity. And then, in a similar line item, thought process, in the revenues side, I know we're not taking septic receiving anymore, that's gonna continue in 2027?
Continue for the foreseeable future.
Forever, great, so. we'll-
No. The plant has to be ready to take it, and right now it is not
It's
even
not, right.
ready to be able to take that septage. And even at that rate, if we are gonna go back to looking at septage, we need to look at charging an appropriate cost, because septage 90% of the time comes into the plant as dead material, which means it takes more chemicals, more time to process.
Now freshen up,
Correct.
okay.
But I will tell you that,
Oh, it stinks worse.
but I tell you, there are companies that are willing to pay because they
Yes.
don't want to have to drive all the way to where
Right.
they're driving.
Oh, I don't disagree, but right now, currently, the plant,
Right.
we can't take that. It would upset the ecological system, and they're so bad right now, and
All right, I don't have any more questions about that one, but I do have two more things. Wastewater processing fee is now at $813,000, seems like a pretty significant jump on the revenue side.
It is,
What are we doing, how was that
Adam
number?
can answer that, why that rate has gone up on
Sure.
what we're charging the county.
So when I did the FY 24-25 true up, because of the repairs we've done in town due to the I&I, our water increased, well, water that went through the plant decreased by like 95 million gallons, which actually increased the county's rate, which changed the rate from, I don't remember
Was it-
exactly what it was.
7 something to 12?
Yeah, might have been $7.88 to $12.54 per thousand gallons.
So they have to pay their part.
Yes.
Okay, and then the line item below it that says county payments, that's not that, that's something else?
So what that talks about is the upgrade fee.
That's the upgrade they pay every year, they're on a contract to pay, but we're on a schedule to pay that. That was their upgrade, when we did the upgrade, that was their
From
portion of
20
it.
years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and they're almost through with that, I'd have to see how many more years they have on
They
that,
do
but
until
they're almost,
2030.
yeah, they're almost through
They are.
paying that upgrade.
All right, and the capital share of capital improvement, because in that same arrangement, they also are responsible for a percentage of that capital
Yes.
improvement that we're
But we
making.
can't estimate that, and we can't, there's no way to estimate that, what we're gonna spend in each year on capital improvements.
Well, what about the stuff we've already allocated? We are spending $3.2 million right
What did we
now.
have last year?
some
Last year
of
we had
that,
130,000.
some of that is
And we still haven't gotten that.
upgrade. Some of that is replacement
Right.
or repair, so
And some of it doesn't apply to the county.
Okay. So, but it's at zero right now, so,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
When we do the true up every year for the wastewater treatment plant and the county share of the low, we do charge them for their share of any capital improvements that are related to their portion of our operating, for them.
When they make a new connection on our sewer, what happens? Do we get any connection fee from their new connection to our sewer plant?
not that I'm aware of.
No, we do not.
No.
How many
They always
connections
pay
are
all
there
the
per
usage.
year? Ballpark,
For the county,
to us.
We don't know because it doesn't get broken down by
Okay.
connection to us.
It's done by flow.
I see.
So we don't get charged for like,
Gotcha.
When they connect someone else, we don't get anything. Just wanted to clarify. Okay, because Placid Bay is blowing up, when you say we don't have a lot of info here.
Placid Bay is not under the county, that's under Larry's Cross.
Oh, really?
Placid
Yeah,
Bay
they're on
State
plant.
Water Supply, yes.
You are
For
correct.
sewer?
but The sewer,
I'm talking about the sewer connection.
sewer?
I don't have sewer.
not everyone, you are correct, not everyone in Placid Bay.
There is not a lot of places in
There-
Placid Bay that have.
A lot of it is septic stuff.
Most of it's
Yeah.
so septic. Where?
No, I still maintain my septic tank.
What is that, Berkeley and Eptide? Did they
Well,
run
I don't
septic
know
out
if
there
you
too?
remember that
Or
Norman
sewer
tried
out
to
there?
get. Placid
Eptide
Bay.
does, I know Eptide
Yes.
does, most of that is all on vacuum system. I know part
We
of
get upside.
Placid Bay is on,
the shores?
Shores.
Just part of it.
Part of it.
So that's the way.
I don't know, so.
I mean, I think Epcot's had probably 50 new houses in the last 2 years.
We
Okay.
actually have 3 different divisions within Westmoreland County. The Western Washington District, the Washington District Phase 1 and Phase 2. So we actually get 3 different districts from them that they all have connections in, and they pay us, each of us pays separately.
Got it. Okay. I don't mean to cut this short for anybody. Is there more, does people want more time?
I was just looking at one thing, less than we already talked about it, the carryover reserve. We had a couple years with it, I guess we're budgeting 0 for this year. It
What are
looks
you
like
looking at?
carryover reserve from reserves
The line item.
to
Revenue.
revenue.
On the revenue side.
On the revenue side?
Yeah. Budgeted last year, 831,000, adopted, so that's 25.
Yes, we used reserve money last year to balance the budget and not have that, we were gonna have a double-digit rate hike.
Okay,
And you guys decided you didn't want a double digit, you went 8 and 8 on the water and sewer last year. We used reserves, which is not best practice.
right.
I would not recommend using reserves again for a second year in a row to balance the budget. But that is also a decision that council needs to make.
Right. I guess that's part of the reason for these too. I guess we confused it.
Well, yeah, you could say that because we're not using reserves to cover our shortfalls
Right.
operating, yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I had this one straight. Need to dig some more, but I'm good for tonight as far as what I've gotten so far.
Anybody else? I don't want to, anybody feel, we don't get an opportunity now to say anything. Obviously, we all get this to sit with for a little while.
Anything else you want us to look at, to get more detail on?
Do we have any, I thought there was a mandate to rate increases in the DQ consent order. There's also an expected rate amount in, by DQ. Remember them talking about that, or to be in line with what their expectations were? Is there any legal, I just asked that question to bring back some research on if there is any legal requirement for that consent order tied to rate increases, and also like forecasting that in a way, because I thought that was a part of the conversation that was had when we were.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Natasha, but I believe part of the consent order was it had to be a certain percentage, but it also was required to cover operating costs of operating the wastewater treatment plant and the sewer collection system.
Just get some clarity on that, so that makes sure we're in line and not, in staying compliant with the order.
We could make that part of the messaging, I'm sure that's where your head is.
Well, I mean, we don't have a choice on that, that's,
Right.
that's the reality. And I'm not going to jail for any of y'all, so, that's point blank.
That too.
And plus with messaging,
Yes.
the cascading problems, if you don't what you need, don't do what you need to do to be compliant, so.
I mean, it's a legal order, yeah, we can talk about that. We should always continue to be very clear about the legal order we're under, and the very serious nature of that. All right, anybody else? I'm kind of going once, going twice. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna say a motion to adjourn. I got 7:32 PM.
So moved.
Everybody in favor of that?